Welcome to episode 2 of the As a Matter of Fact podcast with Sydney and Chanel. Today's episode is titled Family Dynamics. So first, let's learn about the types of families. So first off, we have the nuclear family. That's where there are two parents present in the household with the kids. The second type is the extended family. That's where you have two or more generations or relatives living in the same home with kids. The third type is the single parent household. That's where one parent is present in the household and is primarily responsible for the raising of the kids. The final type is the childless household, but there are no kids.
Sounds very peaceful to me. Next, we're gonna let you learn about the levels of affection from parents. So I just brought that up. I didn't know it was a thing. Chanel didn't believe me, but it is real, right? So there are three types. So the first one is the low or absence level amount of affection, right? So it's minimal physical touch. It's limited verbal affirmations of love and support, and potentially a lack of emotional responsiveness. And ultimately, this has the potential of causing children to grow up having anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, and they struggle with social interactions.
You never loved me, Mom, but I needed you.
Now, the second one is the moderate amount or the normal amount. So these are filled with hugs and kisses, verbal affirmation with appropriate levels of discipline and boundaries. Children tend to grow up being happier. They are more resilient. They're less anxious, and they are able to deal with social interactions a lot better.
Okay.
Now, the last type is the excessive or high amount of affection. So basically, that's when they smother children.
When the nurse placed her on my breast, I looked down at her and I said, "You are going to be my best friend forever." Is that normal?
Right? They have overly frequent physical touch. They violate boundaries as well. And children, potentially grow up with the inability to form healthy boundaries or cope with the normal highs and lows of life. Also, it's also important to note that, yes, these are like standard levels that were developed and studied, but children react differently to different types of affection. So your child, one child may want you to be a bit more loving or want more physical touch, and another child more comfortable with you not being as hands-on, and that is okay. You just need to figure out what level of affection, what age-appropriate affection that particular child needs. Yeah?
Okay.
So Shan,
Yes.
which family did you grow up with, and what was the level of affection that you got?
I grew up in a single parent household, and I would say my level of affection was probably the first and second one because we weren't verbal in saying I love you. We never said that. But we knew we loved each other. Okay, so it didn't have to be said. I was okay with it. But we were still physical. Like my mom especially was very playful. I played a lot with my brothers, but just the affirmation and the saying I love you wasn't there. Up to this day, I will tell my brother I love you and he would not say it back. He hangs up the phone. He hangs up the phone on me. But if I tell my mommy, she would respond, but she isn't the type to like say it first. You understand?
And are you okay with that?
I'm okay with that because I know she loves me.
Okay. That is all that matters. That's really all that matters. I think I grew up a bit more with the opposite. I would say that I grew up with the normal or moderate amount of affection.
Okay.
Like my parents are very loving. They have no problem saying that they love me.
So nice.
It's okay, girl. And a lot of hugs and kisses. So and that was good for me. But something happened with my siblings. We don't say nice things to each other. But the love is there, but they're like allergic to hugs. It just doesn't feel natural to hug them.
Okay.
But the love is there. That is the bottom line of this whole thing. Moving on to a topic that I'm passionate about.
Very passionate.
Right? Because it's something miraculous. It's the love for the non-present parents, right? And this usually goes for the single parents household, right? So you see the mommy or daddy that you live with, they feed you, they bathe you, they do your homework with you, they drop you and pick you up from school. They're just like, okay, you don't really appreciate that. But you see, mommy or daddy, they're picking you up once a month to carry you for a drive, or you're going to get some ice cream, or you're going by the park. Oh! Superman, Superwoman. They love off. You see, that parent, that is my parent. And I always wonder why, and I could understand why the present parent will feel some type of way. Because like you're doing all of this, and then there's this person that comes in once in a while, and the child looks at them, and it's more like they idolize them a little bit more. Like, daddy can't do nothing wrong, or mommy can't do nothing wrong, because you know why? They are only there for a good time. They're not really there to really discipline you or do any of the hard work that the parent that you live with does for the children.
Just want you to know, if you need anything, don't be shy, okay? There are no rules in this house. I'm not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom. Right, Regina? Please stop talking. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it's just really, really sad, because it's like, to me, I see it more like a toxic relationship.
Okay.
If you were there for the first episode, go back and check and talk about toxic relationships, right?
Yes, we did.
Right? Because it's unhealthy and it's unenjoyable. Meaning, right?
Yeah.
The unenjoyable is that they spend a lot of time, thinking like, when daddy come in, and they do a countdown, like if daddy say he come in Saturday, whole week, you're antsy. You're like, oh, Saturday come in, mommy, when Saturday come in. I find that it's so unfortunate, because if they make the mistake and they don't show up on Saturday,
Heartbroken.
As opposed to the parent that they live with, if they say, nah, we can't go to the park today, they'd be like, okay.
Usual thing with you.
Like usual thing, like it just doesn't affect them as much as when the non-present parents set them up, right? And it's also unhealthy, because it's like you're not there to discipline the child. You're not really there to really sculpt the child or raise them in the right way. You're really just there for a good time, like making guest appearances in your child's life, and you should not do that. It's like you give them scraps of bone on the floor, but you know that your child deserves chowing a bone.
What?
I don't know why I'm using dog. Maybe because I'm a dog mom.
Yeah.
So that's why that's my examples. But the message is still the same.
See where you're coming from, because I grew up in a single parent household from the ages of 1 to 12. And my dad was my favorite parent. He wasn't like a once a month kind of dad, but he still was my favorite parent. And I didn't appreciate all the things that my mother did for us. Yeah, so I understand your grievance towards that. Also, I just think that the present parents, they are involved in disciplining the child. Any discipline, all the no's that the child gets, it's from the present parents. So they're gonna associate that with the parents.
As you're older, like I appreciate that you're able to identify that. And you can see how much your mom did for you.
Yeah, I actually wrote a letter to my mommy like 3 years ago, because we're not affectionate, I couldn't tell her. But I wrote her a letter telling her how much I appreciated what she did. And what a good mother she was, because we weren't as close growing up, even though she was there through it all. If you're a single parent going through this, there is hope. Your child would, appreciate you in the end.
Hopefully.
Most likely.
Hopefully. And if, my viewers, if you all can identify that, you treated your present parents a little not the best, do some introspection, let this sink in. And if you're possible, go tell them how much you love them. Even if that's not the norm, go do it. So, on our social media, which I hope you are all following us on, did a poll, right?
Yes.
And we asked the question, what is the main role of the parents in a family? Yeah. And you all voted. So 20% said it is to provide financial support. 7% said to discipline children. 73% said to nurture and guide children. And no one voted to ensure academic success. Shan, what is your opinion?
I think it's all of the above. I think all are important. I do agree with the 73% though. I feel like that's up there. But ultimately all roles of the parents. Yeah. What about you?
The politically correct answer is all. I will say that. With focus on the nurture and guide children. But I just want to make a point, right? The ensure academic success. Yes, it is good that you push your child to do well in school. But it is also important, in my opinion, to identify when your child had just had and it can't take schooling, right? Like you push them, you're buffing them again, angry them, and they're just like, I can't do it. But at the same time, you're supposed to say, okay, this is not working out. Let's see what avenue we could take. What can my child be good at? And it's whether you try out football, tennis, cricket, art, music. Try it out, find what they like, and then you see their potential in it and you push for it. Right? So while still trying to push for some academic success as well.
Yeah.
But it's good to understand because sometimes children can grow up and they can't resent you. Because be like, mommy, that is so hard on me all the time.
Yeah.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad! You keep digging!
You understand?
Yeah.
As opposed to if they see you supporting them at any football game or cricket or anything like that. It is important to still support children if they are not doing well academically, because that is a lot of stress. And I find that's unfortunate stress for children. This might be a little, wild. Education is not always the key to success.
I said what I said!
I think that's an outdated construct, by the way. I feel like in 2025, there are so many more avenues that you can go down. And people with all these degrees, they don't have a job.
I know
they don't know what to do with the degree.
I know a couple of police officers who are certified engineers.
Yeah, of course.
What they building in the station? I'm just saying. It's like as soon as you come out of school, it's like, okay, go get a degree. And then you don't use the degree, and then you end up doing something more practical because at the end of the day, we need money. And sometimes the degree doesn't get you anywhere, and that is okay. Do not think that your child is a failure of any sort, but support them. Support them in anything they want to do. At the end of the day, we need to be happy. And if you want to create memorable, good and memorable moments in a child's life to hold on to, so they don't grow up having any, unfortunately, daddy issues or mommy issues.
That's true. And you know who I feel it for the most? Those kids who do SCA. Because some parents just drill these kids. As soon as they finish school, they have to go lessons. When they come home, you're studying? It's like, that's crazy. Kids should be kids, and we shouldn't put all these pressures on like an 11-year-old or 12-year-old child. Get your child in a sport or some sort of activity.
Extracurricular activity.
Extracurricular activity. No more tablet babies. Okay? I asked my sister her name today, and she thought about it. Because she's just on the phone all day, and I'm not joking. She thought about it. It's bad.
She had a little lapse.
She had a lapse. No, it's true. Like, those constantly staring at your phone and, like, doom scrolling is bad. It negatively affects your brain.
There was a time I carried my niece and nephew for a walk. And there's this huge dog by someone's fence. And the dog is just vicious. Like it wants to bite through the fence. And my natural instinct, I know when I see a big dog, I run a little faster. I turn around. Those two heifers stand up watching the dog. And I'm like, could you run? Like, this is not dog behavior. So when we passed, I'm like, what was that about? And my nephew just said nothing. He's like, yeah. And my niece said, I was interested in it. I'm like, have you lost your flight or fight response? Because it's very clear that you can't fight a dog. So you only had one other option.
That's not the way it works.
It should work like that. But it's like these simple things I didn't even know about, picking mango, climbing a mango tree.
They can't pick mango, they can't catch mango, they can't do anything. It's
so
really
sad.
bad.
We're doing things wrong. Also, on our socials, we asked our dear, very well and appreciated followers with one word to describe your childhood. Okay, so one person replied back saying that it was free.
Okay, free in what way?
I'm not sure, but I just envisioned them like in the field, like a little girl in the house of a Perry, just
Okay, Fields of Mayaro or something like that. That sounds nice.
Fields of Mayaro. That. Someone responded and said it was disciplined.
That's good. I love discipline. We need discipline in this country. People are too
In this
slack.
world.
Yes.
Yeah. One person said memorable.
Very
Which is nice.
Very nice.
And then I said entertaining.
Okay.
I might want to hear some of those stories. Yeah. And just one more sentimental. Aww.
Too cute.
That's adorable. Right. It is our segue for fact or myth.
That's my favorite. This is my favorite facts. So, I have the facts or myths today. Are you ready?
Born.
Okay. Fact number 1. The birth order determines the child's personality.
I want to say it's a myth because I know there are stereotypes like the last child is spoiled, which I do not believe in because I am a last child. But so I'm going to stick with myth.
Okay. Well, it's actually a myth. Sort of. It's a gray area, right? Because there's been a couple of recent studies that show that the birth order has little or no effect on the child's personality. But there's been a lot of studies throughout the years that has had like inconsistent findings. And the main reason for that is because you can't really replicate an environment like that unless you create your own village and give each child like the same upbringing, which is not possible. So what they would usually do is pick some families randomly and study those families. But then there are so many compounding factors that it's difficult to determine what really affected the child's personality. But I think that the birth order does affect personality. I really do. But not in the way that, okay, the first child is responsible and the last child is spoiled. I think that each child has a different experience of their parents or the household. So, for example, for me, when I was born, we had no money at all. It was struggle times, right? So my experience during that time was very different than my sister, who was born in the 2000s, I'll just say. And she had a much easier upbringing and much less stresses in the home. So her personality is different from mine in that aspect.
Okay, that's a valid point.
She's spoiled though. So fact number 2. Trauma can be inherited genetically.
I'll say that it is true.
Yes, it's true. So this usually happens when there's a significant trauma, by the way. So it has to be war, famine, or like a long-standing sexual abuse, long-standing drug abuse in the household. So what happens is that the genes itself isn't changed, but the expression of the gene is changed. So that the way that someone would respond to certain situations or certain stresses in life will be different than somebody who didn't have those inherited genes.
If you were reborn or reincarnated, which family you would want to belong to?
Okay.
Right? Options are 1, Kardashians, 2, Waynes, 3, Jacksons, 4, Trump, 5, Smith, or 6, the royal family.
This is very difficult. Let me eliminate the ones I know for sure I don't want to be in.
Okay.
If anybody from those families are watching, I am sorry, but don't take this
Most likely not.
So I don't want to be in the Kardashian family. I don't. I feel like they set unrealistic beauty standards, you know? So I don't want to be part of that. I'm going to take out the Jacksons just because I feel like there is, like, from what I've heard, there's some trauma there.
Okay. That is,
with like the dad and all that. So I don't want to be a part of that. Also, I don't think I could sing and dance as well. So there is that.
Oh.
I can't?
No. But
Okay, the Smith. I don't want to be part of the Smith family. Just based on the things I've heard from Red Table Talk.
you don't want to listen to Jada.
I'm not gonna say who it is. Yeah. I don't want to be part of that. No, it seems a little strange. I'm gonna take out Trump. I feel like just because he's been president or he is president, there'll be too much of a spotlight on me. You know what I mean?
You're on a podcast, though.
What?
Okay.
This is hard because I love castles, first of all, and then, but the Waynes are so funny. I want to be part of that.
Wait, hold on. You want to be part of the royal family because you love castles.
Yes.
So they try to marry your cousin.
That's, you know what, maybe that used to happen, but I feel like now it's happening less. And I just won't be one of those who marry the cousins.
I've seen you eat. I don't think you have the decorum to eat like the royal family. I am sorry. I gotta say it. But sure, you know what? No problem. This is your fantasy. So which one you choose? Hello?
Waynes.
Waynes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think that they seem fun. I mean, I don't know them, but they seem fun.
We know nobody.
And I feel
Nobody
like,
know us.
I feel like I could be part of the movies.
For me, honestly, it's a tie between the Kardashians and the Waynes. Reason being, right? You look at the Kardashians based on how society sees them, what they do for society. I see it more as how they are in their relationships. Like, they throw the best parties. And they really and truly ride for each other. That's why I think, again, we don't know these people. But they seem close-knit. And I like that.
Okay. What would be your niche then? Because each of them has like their own niche. So what would be yours?
I feel like make a podcast.
Oh.
I feel like I'll be good at that, you know.
Oh, yeah, you know, you have points. You have a point. Okay.
Yeah. And for the Waynes, yeah, they just seem like they have a good time.
Yeah.
You know? And that's really what family apart from. They seem supportive, like everybody tries their hand in the business, and they seem like they get along. Who knows for the majority? Who knows? So that's my pick. Would you rather be raised in a rich family with distant relationships or a loving, close-knit, middle-class family?
Okay. You know, I grew up in a close-knit, lower-class family, so I could switch. I'll just make my own family. I'll be a bit close. Huh? No. I would choose the close-knit, middle-class this time. Yeah, that's it. I really would.
Okay.
What about you?
I would as well, because I mean, I grew up with a lot of love, so I still want the love. I'm grateful for that. But on some days, you know, I could do like a little swappity swap.
Oh, dabbling.
I mean, all families have problems, you know. Sometimes I want money to not be one of those problems. Some days.
And money solves a lot of problems as well. Not all, but some. Most.
Have you gotten the you are adopted story?
No.
Okay. Well, my heifer of a sister. This was when I was about 10 years old.
Okay.
So she came. It was a well planned out scheme, right?
Okay.
She came. She's like, Sydney, mommy and daddy, not your parents. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, for real, they're not.
Oh.
Go and ask mommy. Chip at me. Run. Go and ask my mama. And she's like, I didn't want you to find out like this. I was like, what? What is happening here? But in the back of my mind, I was like, she could have just told mommy to just say that, right? I wasn't fully convinced.
Okay.
And, I was smart, And then she goes, well, if you don't believe me, go and ask Granny. So, my granny's sweet. My granny would lie to me. I was like, yeah, do that, right?
Really?
So I ran upstairs. Granny's in the gallery, right? She's sitting down. I don't know. And then she's looking down like those people in Twilight that are looking over the banister like, Granny, Jimmy told me that I'm adopted. And Granny goes,
Yes, that is true.
I was in shambles. I was like, what? And it took a little minute before I think either my dad or my mom, when she came and said, well, Sydney, we just playing, whatever. My sister having a time. She felt like a mastermind. And I watched them sideways all day. And that hurt me.
It's Granny for me.
I can't believe Granny. I mean, rest in peace, but Granny. To this day, I haven't forgiven you.
You think I forgot about that? I haven't.
I feel like if I had gotten that as a child, I'd have been like, for real? Well, let me hope that my actual family has money and go find them.
So that brings us to the end of episode 2 on Family Dynamics Childhood. If you'll enjoyed this, make sure and share, like, follow, subscribe on our channel. We still have a lot more to come. And again, just like last week, tell your mama, tell your papa, tell your neighbor, tell the next neighbor.
And Susie.
Spread the word. And we will see you again soon. Ta-ta.